of us have motivation of some sort. I define motivation as the desire to achieve that which you believe to be worthwhile. And many people go through life never getting in touch with their greatness because of the lack of motivation to push themselves, or because they have not found something that they believe to be worthwhile to challenge them. I heard a poem once that said, many a flower has bloomed unceasingly and wasted sweetness upon the cold desert air. It's translated, that means simply that many a talented persons have gone unnoticed, and the world never had a chance to be exposed to their talent because that person did not take the time to begin to express or to demonstrate or to motivate themselves in the direction to bring that which they came into the universe to bring. How can you measure your motivation? How can you evaluate where you are on a scale of 1 to 10? Let's do this for ourselves mentally. How do you rate yourself from 1 to 10? Your mental attitude about yourself, how you feel about you, how you feel about life. How do you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of your physical appearance, in terms of your health? Do you take care of yourself? Are you allowing yourself to get overweight and out of shape? Are you conscious of your health? Are you watching the food that you take into your body? Do you make a deliberate effort to exercise? You know, it was George Burns, he said, we cannot help getting older, but we don't have to get old. And many of us get old before our time because we don't take time to take care of ourselves. Your environment is a very good indicator. On a scale of 1 to 10, is it what you want it to be? Do you find it desirable? Are you satisfied? The job or career that you're involved in. Someone said that 85% of the American public are unhappy with their jobs. Are you spending 8 hours a day just doing time? Doing something that you don't find challenging, that does not make you stretch mentally, that does not stimulate you, that does not inspire you. Something that you don't find a sense of fulfillment in it. If you're doing that day in and day out, it has to affect how you feel about yourself, your level of motivation. Your relationships. What kind of impact is it having on your life? Is it nourishing or is it a toxic relationship? Does it drain you or does it build you up? Ask yourself that. How motivated are you to do something about it? Your contribution, your actions. What are you giving? Many people will leave the universe without a trace. No one will know they were here. And in fact, under their name, we could put under there, not used up. Will anybody know that you came this way? What contribution are you giving? What will you leave? What will be different because you came this way? Someone once said that life is our gift to us that God has given us, and how we live our lives is our gift to God. What kind of gift are you formulating? Is this a gift that you like to take back and do something else before you turn it in? Think about that. What can we do? What are some of the keys that we can begin to use to motivate ourselves when our batteries run low? Because I don't care who you are, I don't care what you do, at some time you are going to get tired. At some time you're going to get in a rut. Seem like nothing you do works out right. And sometimes it just seems like you just don't have the wherewithal or the will to do anything. That sometimes you act like you're punch drunk. You're just wading through life, just doing time day in and day out, looking at non-discriminatory television, anything that's on, just looking. And depressed, feeling powerless, feeling useless, and bored. What do you do? How do you get yourself out of a rut? How do you, when you know you can do more than what you've been doing and you're not doing it and you're discontent with where you are, you get angry at yourself. How do you get out of that rut? How do you motivate yourself? One of the things that we must do is that we must be involved in working on achieving self-mastery. You must work on yourself continuously. Never be satisfied with yourself. Always know that as you invest the effort and time on you, that's the greatest ability that human beings have above animals. See, a dog can't be anything but a dog. Tree can't be anything but a tree. Human being, you've got unlimited potential. You can put effort on you, and by concentrating on you and developing you, you can transform your life wherever you are right now. So you want to work on yourself. You want to read books that inspire you and motivate you. You want to listen to tapes over and over and over again. And I suggest that you listen to tapes when you first get up in the morning. You want to control the spirit of your day. When you first wake up in the morning, your mind is operating at 10.5 wave cycles per second. That's when the subconscious mind is most impressionable. Whatever you hear in the first 20 minutes when you wake up, that will affect the spirit of your day. When you listen to tapes, listen with relaxed belief, believing that this can happen for you. And by listening to them, listen to them over and over and over again, and you will get a breakthrough. You can listen to the same tape for months, and all of a sudden you hear something you never heard before. It have a special meaning for you. Or read the same book over again, and you find some special insight. You said, I can't believe I didn't see that the first time. So you want to be involved in developing yourself. Most people won't do that. Most people won't take that kind of effort and invest that kind of energy in themselves, because they will fall prey to that conversation within. Oh, don't do that. You don't have time. You're too busy. You're too caught up in the rat race. Most people won't do that. Well, they won't take time to go to lectures. They won't take time to go to seminars. They won't take time to go to classes to improve themselves. And as you continue to work on yourself, you will begin to expand your vision of yourself. You'll begin to work towards self-mastery. And you will begin to see it reflect itself in all the dimensions of your life, your mental life, your physical life, your social life, in your relationships, your monetary life. So concentrate on developing yourself. Because if you don't, I guarantee you that you will make a settlement. And most people have. And most of us already have. What kind of settlement have you made with your life? You know, when we make settlements, out of court settlements, you've heard them? That means that you decided to take something less than what you originally wanted to get had you gone into court. And the reason that you settled outside of court is because you didn't believe that you can get it. So you made an out-of-court settlement. Many of us are making an in-life settlement. We're settling for less than what we actually deserve. We don't feel good about it, but we make it work in our minds. We'll come up with some kind of excuse to make it all right. What kind of settlement have you made with your life? Many of us settle for less than what we want out of relationships because we don't have the courage to change them. In order to begin to find some keys to self-motivation to drive yourself, in addition to working on yourself, and as you work on yourself, you feel good about yourself, and as you feel better about yourself, you treat yourself differently. Develop a health plan. See, you can't feel well and do well if you don't have good health. You can't perform if you don't have your health. Your health is valuable. Develop a health plan. A plan that you will follow, because this is the only vehicle that you have to carry you through this experience called life. And you want to take good care of it because you love you enough. You care enough about you. And that's not easy. It is not easy having a health plan and sticking to it. See, most people are not accumulating wealth. Most people are living in poverty. Most people are living far below their potential, not because they don't have the capacity, not because they have not been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth, but most people are living like they're living because of the fact that they don't believe they can have any more than what they now have. In the book called Miseducation of the Negro, Dr. Carter G. Woodson said, if you can determine what a man shall think, you'll never have to concern yourself with what he will do. If you can make a man feel inferior, you never have to compel him to seek an inferior status, for he will seek it himself. And if you can make a man feel justly an outcast, you never have to order him to go to the back door. He'll go without being told. And if there's no door, his very nature will demand one. That's why Scripture reminds us, be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So every day you have to sell yourself and get out of your mind those old thoughts, that old belief system. Every day you've got to sell yourself on that it's possible That you got to put a new mind in you. You got to get out of your mind. You got to begin to restructure your thinking. Every day, you've got to begin to recondition your mind. See, let me share something with you. The easiest thing I've ever done was to earn $1 million. The most difficult thing I've ever done was to believe it could happen to me. That was the most difficult part, to believe that given my circumstances, if my birth parents came down this aisle right now, I would not know either one if my daddy came up here or my mother came up here. Given the fact that I was born in an abandoned building on a floor, being labeled educable, mentally retarded. I remember going to see the late Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, the author of the book, The Power of Positive Thinking. And I used to look at him up on stage and I said, I could do that. I would love to talk to people. I love to talk to people. And I said, I could do that. But then when I started going back to my car, my mental conditioning activated itself. And it said, Les Brown, you can't do that. You don't have a college education. Les Brown, you can't do that. You don't have the training. You've never worked for a major corporation. You can't do that. What makes you think you can earn $5, $10, $15, $20,000 in an hour? You don't earn that now working for 2 or 3 months. What makes you think that you can speak for AT&T, Procter & Gamble, McDonald's Corporation, General Electric? These are clients I have now. You've never even worked for them. How many of you ever thought about something you wanted to do and you talk yourself out of it? Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. That inner conversation is what's going to haunt you after standing here and saying, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. After saying that again and again, we are more than conquerors. That inner conversation will cause you, when you leave here, to go back leading a life of mediocrity, leading a life of unproductivity, leading a life of poverty. So I'm going to share with you how to break out of that. And Dr. Peale had a great sense of humor. A young man was backstage and I had so many questions to ask him and my mind froze up, and the young guy said, Dr. Peale, how old are you? And he was up in age. He said, Sonny, I'm 92. The young man looked at him and said, I don't know if I want to live to get 92. He said, that's because you've never been 91. So I did the things that Mr. Washington suggested. I listened to motivational tapes on a regular basis. I would go to seminars and workshops whenever Zig Ziglar and Dr. Dennis Wagley and Jim Rohn would come to town. And I said, sir, what do you want me to do now? He said, Mr. Brown, I've given you everything that I can give you. He said, develop your mind, put your money where your mouth is, continue to learn how to be an effective communicator, because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. And always surround yourself with OQP, only quality people. So I went to apply for a job on Miami Beach. WMBM radio station. Milton Butterball Smith was the program director. Hello, Mr. Butterball. How are you, sir? My name is Les Brown, sir. I'd like to be a disc jockey. He said, young man, you have any journalism in your background? I said, oh, no, sir, I don't. You have any experience in broadcasting? I said, no, sir, but I practice all the time, sir. Let me audition for you, sir. Let me show you how good I am. All I need is a shot, sir. He says, no, we don't have any job for you. How many ever been rejected? Raise your hands, please. I was devastated. I went back and I told Mr. Washington, I said, Mr. Washington, they said no. He said, don't take it personally. Most people are so negative, they have to say no 7 times before they say yes. He said, you got to be hungry. Know your vitamin. Go back again. I said, yes, sir. Hello, Mr. Butterball. How are you, sir? My name is Les Brown, sir. I like to be a disc jockey. Young man, weren't you here yesterday? Yes, sir, I was. Didn't I tell you no yesterday? Yes, sir, you did. Then why are you back today? Well, sir, I didn't know whether or not somebody was laid off or somebody was fired, sir. Nobody was laid off or fired. Now, get on out of here. I came back the next day. Hello, Mr. Butterball. How are you, sir? My name is Les Brown, sir. I like to be a disc jockey. I know what your name is. Weren't you here the last 2 days? Yes, sir, I was. Didn't I tell you no the last 2 days? Yes, sir, you did. Why are you back? Oh, sir, I didn't know whether or not someone got sick or someone died, sir. No one got sick or died. No one was laid off or fired. Now, don't you come back here again. I came back the next day talking loud, looking happy like I was seeing him for the first time. I said, hello, Mr. Butterball, how are you? He looked at me with rage. He says, go get me some coffee. I said, yes, sir. My favorite book says the greatest among you will be your servant. How many of you are serious about your goals and dreams? Raise your hands. Very good. Write this down. Provide more service than you get paid for. Provide more service than you get paid for.
I go to a lot of seminars and workshops. And one of the things I know about T. Harv Eker, when I was sitting in the class with Robert Ruppel and all of the other presenters, they hold themselves to high standards and they provide more information than anybody else in the industry, bar none. They hold nothing back because their commitment is for your success. And when you hold yourself to high standards, write this down, impact drives income. That's why you're here. Because the training, the seminars, been making a difference in your life. If they did not have impact, 200 or 300 people would be here, if that amount. Impact drives income. So I became the errand boy for the disc jockeys. I would go get their lunch and their dinner, and I would bring it to them in the control room, and I'd watch them working the control boards, knowing my time will come. Write this down. I expect to reach my goal. Yes, you want to operate with a spirit of expectation. I expect to reach my goal. So I started preparing for the next position. Never forget one quote that I heard. As you look at your life, you look at your goals and dreams. It's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. If you expect to reach your goal, prepare yourself now. And so then pretty soon, the guys at the station, they begin to take a liking to me. Write this down. Build relationships. As you're aware, people deal with people that they know, like, and trust. And so they would say, Leslie, yes, sir. Come here, yes. Come outside. Who did this? Oh, your car? Yes. Who cleaned my car? I did, sir. I would wax their cars on the weekend, inside and out. How much do you charge? Oh, nothing, sir. I just wanted to help out. I was providing more service than I got paid for. I was building relationships. They said, whoa, look here. Donna Ross and the Supremes are coming to town. The Four Tops and the Temptations. Here are my car keys. Pick them up for me. Take them to the Fontainebleau Hotel on Miami Beach. I said, yes, sir. I would drive them all over Miami Beach in their big, long Cadillacs. I didn't have any driver's license, but I was driving like I had some. Then one day, it was a Saturday afternoon, a disc jockey by the name of Rockin' Roger was drinking while he was on the air. It was a Saturday afternoon, and I was the only one there. Rockin' Roger got so drunk, he could not complete the show. He started slurring his words. He's about to fall off the chair. And there I was, looking at him through the control room window, walking back and forth, young, ready, and hungry. I was saying, drink, Rock, drink. Drink, Rock. I'd have gone and get him some more if he'd asked me to. Then pretty soon the phone rang. It was the general manager, and I answered the phone. I said, hello? He said, young boy, this is Mr. Klein. I said, I know. He said, Rock can't finish his program. I said, I know. He said, would you call one of the other DJs in? I said, yes, sir. I said to myself, he must think I'm crazy. I called my mom and my girlfriend, Cassandra. I said, y'all come out on the front porch and turn up the radio. I'm about to come on the air. I waited for about 20 minutes, and I called him back. I said, Mr. Klein, I can't find nobody. He said, young boy, you know how to work the controls? I said, yes, sir. He said, go in there and segue the records, but don't say nothing here. I said, yes, sir. I couldn't wait to get old Rock out of the way. I put on a fast record. I said, look out, this is me, LB Triple P, Les Bown, your platter playing papa. There were none before me, and there will be none after me. Therefore, that makes me the one and only. Young and single and love to mingle, certified, bona fide, indubitably qualified to bring you satisfaction and a whole lot of action. Look out, baby, I'm your love man. I was hungry. I was hungry. Get old man a round of applause. I was hungry. I was hungry. You got to be hungry. I say to you that there is a Mother Teresa in you. There's some work for you to do. I say to you that there is a Nelson Mandela in you. That kind of commitment, that kind of spirit, that
that kind of personal power, that kind of vision of allowing yourself to be used by life is in you, that all of us came here to do something, to make a difference. And in a historical context, the world will never be the same again because you came this way. Anytime somebody asks me how I'm doing, I say I'm doing better than good and better than most, and sometimes even better than that. Let me tell you where I got that from. When I was involved in broadcasting, I used to have the first hour of my show as a disc jockey in Columbus, Ohio. I used to give an inspirational program. And there was a lady that used to call me by the name of Audrey Pelmore. Audrey worked at University Hospital. Audrey was an enthusiastic personality that everybody liked her. I mean, she had a radiant smile, and she was just one of those people. You ever meet one of those people that everybody just liked them? She was one of those kind of folks. Audrey became stricken with muscular sclerosis at a very young age. And after a while, she became confined to a wheelchair. She had children. And because of her physical deterioration, she could no longer take care of her children, and she had to be confined to a nursing home, Alum Creek Nursing Home on Nelson Avenue in Columbus, Ohio. Audrey used to have the nurses at the hospital call the radio station and put the phone to her ear, and she would ask for a certain request, and I would ask her to say a few words to the listening audience. One day, while I was doing my program, I got a call from one of my regular callers, a young lady by the name of Shirley. Shirley, on this particular day, there was a sound in her voice, and I detected that something was wrong. And she said to me, "It's nice talking to you, Les. I'll be seeing you." And I said, wait, hold a minute, Shirley. There's something wrong. She says, "There's nothing wrong." I said, "There is, Shirley. I know you. Come on, Shirley, what's wrong?" Well, Shirley had been diagnosed as having cancer of the breast. And they told her that she had a 60-40 chance of not surviving. During the time that she had had her medical examination, her husband had become distant. Through the pressure of losing her husband and the illness, she just felt, hey, I'm not the kind of person that can handle suffering, and I'd rather just end it quickly. She was at a critical point in her life, and this is the option that she decided to take. I did everything I could to discourage her, to give her a reason to want to go on living. I was trying to find something that she can hold on to that would give her a sense of hope, some thread. And I used scripture and everything. And one of my fallback positions, Lord, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And she didn't budge. That did not work. And I was out of my arsenal of what can I do to hold on to her, to get her to change her mind, to create a shift in her thinking. And the thought came to me. I said, "Shirley, could you wait until tomorrow?" She waited for a long time before she answered. She said, "Why tomorrow?" I said, "Because if you wait until tomorrow, I'd like to take you by to see Audrey Pelmore. You remember Audrey that I talk about all the time on the air?" She said, "Yes, I like her. I would like to meet her." And she met me at the Alum Creek Nursing Home, and when we got there, we were both very silent because I'd made a pact with her that if this was not enough to discourage her from taking her life, then I would honor our agreement and I would just release her. And I was going to talk to somebody else to try and get her. I didn't tell her that. As we walked down the hall, I did not know exactly what to expect. I had not seen Audrey for some time. When we walked in the room, there Audrey was, all twisted and physically deformed. She had no voluntary use of her arms. She couldn't even fan a fly out of her face. She couldn't get up and move around. And we had to get close to her because her vision was blurred and she can't speak very loudly. And her hearing was somewhat impaired. And as we drew closer to her, I said, "Audrey, this is Les. And I have a friend with me named Shirley. How you doing, Audrey?" And with what strength she had, she said, better than good, and better than most. And surely, I know as the tears begin to form in her eyes, I know she had to be thinking that here this woman is. She's been on her back, a prisoner in her body for 17 years. She can't turn herself. She can't get up and go to the restroom. She said to me, Les, I'd love to be able to get up and walk out of here with you. I'd love to be able to take care of my children, to be a mother to them, to see them graduate from high school. She said, Les, I can't do that. And I'm doing better than good and better than most. Surely had to be saying within herself, what right do I have to feel sorry for myself? What right do I have to cry out, why me? And she decided and left there with a commitment that she wanted to live with whatever time that she had left, that she had no right to cut the time off. She had no right to do that. And she left there with a new determination, a new spirit about her. And that's something about what we have, that you have. There sometimes your options are frozen. See, Audrey can't walk out of a hospital. She did not have the capacity to take care of her children, but she had a freedom of spirit. And that's what we have wherever we are, with whatever hand that life has dealt us. We have the freedom of spirit. We can go through life whining and weeping, or we can have the kind of spirit that people will say, hey, there's a blessing to be around that person. The staff at the hospital used to go in her room to be encouraged and inspired by her, because she didn't feel sorry for herself. And she didn't go through life blaming everybody. I'm reminded of a young guy who was on a bus, a little young fellow, and some kids were picking at him, some bigger guys, and they kept on thumping him on the head and hiding their hands. And so he got tired of them doing that, and he stood up so he would not be around them, out of their reach. And they took him and said, sit down. They set him down. And he stood back up. He said, I don't want to sit down. They said, sit down. Didn't we tell you? And they pushed him back down. I don't want to sit down. They said, sit down. And they held him down. And he looked at him. He said, you might hold me down, but I'm standing up inside myself. And what we have got to do is know that there's something about you. There's something about us. There's a power in you that regardless of what happens to you, you can stand up inside of yourself. I think that's what the poet meant when he says, out of the night that covers me, black as a pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods there may be for my unconquerable soul. You have an unconquerable soul. Something that George Bernard Shaw said that I think has some power for us. I'd like to share it with you. He said, this is the true joy in life. And one of the things that he said, and I love when he talked about man and Superman, he said that we should establish a tribunal where people would be required to come once a year to give a reason why they should be permitted to go on living for the next year. Can you imagine all the do-nothings hopping from one foot to the other trying to give some justification why they should be allowed to live for the next year? Well, what do you do? What are you contributing to life? I go to work every day. No, are you making a difference in the universe? Why should we allow you to continue to occupy this space? This is a true joy in life. The being used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one. Being a force of nature instead of a feverish, selfish little clod of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy. I am of the opinion, George Bernard Shaw goes on to say, that my life belongs to the whole community. And as long as I live, it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die. For the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle for me. It is a sort of splendid torch which I've got a hold of for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations. Make your move before you're ready. Yeah, write that down. See, I said, well, I don't have a college education. I don't have any paper or alphabets behind my name. And I realized that if you want to make it in life, you want to make your mark,
You've got to become a risk taker. Viscott said, if you're not willing to risk, you cannot grow. And if you cannot grow, you can't become your best. And if you can't become your best, you can't be happy. And if you can't be happy, then what else is there? I like what Helen Keller said. She says, life is short and unpredictable. Eat the dessert first. So you have something special. You're here because there's something in your heart of hearts that said, I want more, I can do more. You're here because you're different. How many of you know people who should be here? Raise your hands, please. Yeah, so you're here because you're different, you're uncommon. One man said, I choose not to be a common man. It's my right to be uncommon if I can. I seek opportunity, not security. I do not wish to be a kept citizen, humbled and dulled by having the state look after me. I want to take the calculated risk, to dream and to build, to fail and to succeed. I refuse to live from hand to mouth. I prefer the challenges of life to the guaranteed existence, the thrill of fulfillment to the still calm of utopia. I will never cower before any master, nor bend to any threat. It's my heritage to stand erect, proud and unafraid, to face the world boldly and say, this I have done. Give yourselves a round of applause for having an uncommon desire to reach your goals, to achieve something great with your life. Bring your level of energy up. So as you look at yourself, not only must we begin to upgrade our relationships, but the other thing is, as you look at your goals and look at your dreams, write this down. You will fail your way to success. See, 85% of people allow their fear of failure to outweigh their desire to succeed. You're going to make some mistakes, and it's okay. Anything that's worth doing is worth doing badly. It's worth doing right if you know how to do it, but if you don't know how to do it, it's worth doing badly until you get it right. You have to be willing to experiment with life. I've done a variety of things, and I had absolutely no idea I have the ability to do those things. Here's what I can say about you, and I don't even know you. You've got greatness within you, but you will not discover your greatness in your comfort zone. You've got to be willing to get outside of your comfort zone, because in order to do something you've never done, you've got to become someone you've never been. And most people, they go to their graves with their greatness still in them. Maybe that's why one woman said in a moment of anguish, what if you live your whole life only to discover that it was wrong? Here's something else as you think about your goals and dreams. What's your why? Why do you want to do it? What drives you? This is my mother. She was 46 years old when she adopted first Wesley and I, and then 5 other children. And she was a driving force in my life. Which one am I? On the right or the left? I'm the cute one. Which one am I now? I'm the one on the left, all right? Yes, indeed. And as you think about your goals and dreams, think about somebody that you love, that inspired you, someone that you love, that you admire. And I think about my background, and this is Wesley and I eating sugar cane. You can see we were not born with a silver spoon in our mouths. Do y'all eat sugar cane here in Australia? Anybody ever had sugar cane? Most of you have not, just 2 people here. Yeah, it's sweet, it's interesting. You know, we were born in the area of Florida where you eat sugar cane. Donald Trump, father gave him $200 million to become successful. How many of you know if I give you $200 million, you got a good shot at becoming successful? Raise your hands, please. My mama gave us 2 pieces of sugar cane, and we had an advantage. The room always get quiet when I say that. Donald Trump was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. If you had a choice between eating a silver spoon and eating sugar cane, which one would you eat? Sugar cane, I told you we had an advantage. That's what I'm talking about. And then I met someone who changed my life. See, what we do and what we accomplish in life is a result of the story we believe about ourselves. And I met this friend, I was a disc jockey at the time, and he said, Les Brown, you're more than a disc jockey. Les Brown, you're more than a paycheck. Les Brown, you can do more. How many of you had somebody see something in you didn't see in yourself? Raise your hands, please. And I couldn't see it at the time. But he continued to talk to me. Faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. And eventually I became an entrepreneur. I began to book concerts, and not just doing a radio show, but I invited entertainers to come to town. And these little guys came in 1973. There I am standing in the back. That's Michael Jackson there at 10 years of age in 1973. I didn't know who they were going to become. They didn't know who I was going to become. The hand that you shook in the audience, you have no idea whose hand you just shook. You don't know who they are. Eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what God has in store for that person whose hand you just shook. That person, they have greatness within them. And you have greatness within you. And to prove it, you were chosen 1 out of 400 million sperm. There's something in you. And God said, I want you, I want you, I want you, I want you. There's something you have that the world needs now. If you don't give it to us, we will all be deprived. And so as you think about your goals and dreams, how many of you like to make a difference in your community? Raise your hands, please. You have the ability to do that. I ran for the Ohio legislature. Had no idea I had the ability to do that. Passed 14 bills my first term. You have greatness within you. You can make more impact than you can ever begin to imagine when you're willing to challenge yourself. Let us say together, lead. Everybody together say, lead. And grow your wings on the way down. Yeah, see, one of the things about life, you're going to get hurt. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to fail your way to success. But you got to be willing to experiment. You got to be willing to push yourself. You got to be willing to challenge yourself by putting yourself in a perpetual state of discomfort. And so, but things happen in life. When you have goals and dreams, things happen. Had no idea. Midway of my third term, my mother became ill. She was diagnosed with breast cancer. My brothers and sisters called me and said they're going to put her in a nursing home. And I said, no. They said, we thought you would say that. We've interviewed the best nursing homes in Dade County. I said no. So I had a problem. How can one woman raise 7 children who couldn't take care of themselves, but 7 grown people couldn't take care of one woman? I had a problem with that. And I said, no. So I resigned from the Ohio legislature and I came back to Miami to take care of Mama. And took care of her until 89. And there are things as you have your goals, things are going to happen to you that you can't anticipate. Some of you are in the eye of the storm now. Things are going to happen. And don't say, why does this have to happen to me? Why not you? Who would you suggest? You want to give us some names or email addresses? That's really what I said the second time I got cancer. They had told me the cancer metastasized in 7 areas of my body. I started laughing. He said, why are you laughing? Are you in denial? I said, no, I feel like Mother Teresa. He said, what do you mean? She said, Lord, I know you know how much I can bear. I just wish you didn't have so much confidence in me. There's times in your life when things are going to happen that you've got to begin to put your dream on hold. And you might have to reinvent yourself. How many have already gone through that? Raise your hands, please. It's called life. And don't tell everybody about it. 80% don't care. 20% glad it's you. You have to suck it up and handle it. That's what it's called being in business, being an entrepreneur, being a risk taker, walking by faith and not by sight. Stuff happens to you. And so I had to go in a new direction. And I decided to tell my story. How many of you got a story? Raise your hands, please. How many of you have gone through some things in life that you can teach some other people? Raise your hands, please. How many of you, like me, had periods in your life when you were temporarily insane? Raise your hands. See, there are some people, one of the goals I have in training, 100,000 voices of hope outside of politics and outside of religion, both of which I believe unwittingly polarize and divide people, and teach people how to deliver a message of hope and give people methods and techniques that will help them to change their lives and begin to move their lives to another level. You have something special. You have greatness within you. That story that you have can impact people's lives. Mike Williams talked to me, and it changed my life. It began to expand my vision. How many of you have a college education? Raise your hands, please. Very good. Over 90%. How many ever give a lecture at Harvard University? Raise your hands, please. No hands up. That's in your future. Shake somebody's hand on your right and left and say, that's in my future. That's in my future. Everybody point at me right now. Point at me right now. Point at me lovingly right now. Say, Les Bown. Everybody together say, Les Bown. If you can do it, I can do it. And this time when you say, I can do it, say it with conviction. Point at me again. Les Bown. If you can do it, I can do it. Shake someone's hand and you're ready to laugh and say, I'm ready to play a bigger game. Do that right now. Say, I'm ready to play a bigger game. Absolutely. Yes. It says you look at yourself and look at your goals. There's some things that you can do when you challenge yourself, when you go outside your comfort zone. There are things that will come in the direction of your life that you can't even begin to imagine. That you're going to begin to evolve and go to new levels that will amaze you. And I tell you these things not to impress you, but to impress upon you. You have something special. You have greatness within you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. And so what I'm suggesting that you do is to stretch yourself. That you constantly look for ways as an entrepreneur, how can you begin to set yourself apart from the competition? What is it that you can do that can make you stand out? What are the market takeaways that you can do? One of the things that I learned as a speaker, as a trainer, as an entrepreneur, and a small business operator is that you've got to find something that you love and that you master that. Henry David Thoreau said, do not go where the path may lead, but go where there's no path and leave a trail. As you look at yourself as a business operator, as you look at yourself as an entrepreneur, as you look at yourself as a person that want to make a mark with your life, that want to leave a legacy, you've got to be hungry. Let us say together, I'm hungry to do more. I'm hungry to stretch myself. I'm hungry to take my life to another level. I never forget this gentleman that I'm going to talk with tomorrow. He's now in his 90s. He's blind from glaucoma. And I never forget, he said, young man, go to the board and work this problem out for me. And I said, oh, sir, I can't do that. He says, why not? I said, I'm not one of your students. He said, look at me. Yes, sir. Go to the board and work the problem out anyhow. I said, I can't, sir. And the other students started laughing. They said, he's Leslie. He's got a twin brother, Wesley. Wesley is smart. He's DT. He said, what's DT? He's the dumb twin. And I said, I am, sir. As the students laughed, as some of you did. And he came from behind his desk and looked at me. He said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And that was a turning point in my life. On one hand, I was humiliated, but on the other hand, I was liberated. Because he looked at me with the eyes of Goethe, who said, look at a man the way that he is, he only becomes worse. But look at him as if he were what he could be, then he becomes what he should be. He said, young man, what do you want to do with your life? I said, sir, I want to make my mother proud, sir. He said, how do you plan to do that? I said, when I get out of high school, I'd like to be a disc jockey. He said, is that right? I said, yes, sir. He says, good, I'm going to tell you some things to do. I said, what is it? He says, number one, he said, I want you to work on your mind. He said, here's some motivational materials I want you to listen to by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale and Earl Nightingale. Train your thinking. Write this down. This is very important. What you think about, you bring about. He said, I want you to train your mind to serve you. And I want you to focus on becoming a disc jockey every day. I want you to see yourself on the radio talking to thousands of people. I want you to see yourself doing the things that you want to accomplish. Hold the vision. And I encourage you to do the same thing, whatever area, whatever you want to do, whatever business that you're in, whatever industry that you're in. You want to see yourself there and hold the picture of what it is you want to accomplish. And I said, sir, I want to be a disc jockey, but I don't have a job yet. And then he quoted Whitney Young. He said, young man, it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. He said, you got to be hungry. I said, I am hungry, sir. He said, good. Here are my car keys. At 12 noon, I want you to go in my car and turn on the radio and listen to Paul Harvey. Who is Paul Harvey, sir? He's the world's greatest communicator. He said, whatever you want to do, you want to find people who master that because success leaves clues. And that's the same thing I'm suggesting to you. whatever area that you want to go in it's finances, in business, insurance industry, whatever area that you're interested in, find the people who are mastering that and follow their example. He said, and let me share something else. I said, yes, sir. He said, watch your relationships. They're nourishing relationships and they're toxic relationships. Nourishing relationships, they bring the best out of you. They inspire you. Toxic relationships, they drain you. I said, I will, sir. I do exactly what you're telling me to do, sir. And then he said, Mr. Brown, yes, sir. I've given you everything I can give you. You've got to go out into the marketplace and face the music. I said, thank you, sir. I went to apply for a job on Miami Beach. Milton Butterball Smith was the program director. Hello, Mr. Butterball. How are you, sir? My name is Les Brown, sir. I like to be a disc jockey. Young man, do you have any journalism in your background? No, sir, I don't. Do you have any experience in broadcasting? No, sir, but I visualize myself being on the air every day, sir. I practice. All I want is a shot. Just give me a shot. He says, no, we don't have any job for you. How many have ever been rejected? Raise your hands, please. I was devastated with rejection. I went back and I said, hey, Mr. Washington, they said no. He said, don't take it personally. Most people are so negative, they have to say no 7 times before they say yes. He said, you got to be hungry. Go back again. I said, yes, sir. Hello, Mr. Butterball. How are you, sir? My name is Les Brown, sir. I like to be a disc jockey. Young man, weren't you here yesterday? Yes, sir. Didn't I tell you no yesterday? Yes, sir. Then why are you back today? Well, sir, I didn't know whether or not somebody was laid off or somebody was fired, sir. Nobody was laid off or fired. Now get on out of here. I came back the next day. Hello, Mr. Butterball. How are you, sir? My name is Les Brown, sir. I like to be a disc jockey. I know what your name is. Weren't you here the last 2 days? Yes, sir. Didn't I tell you no the last 2 days? Yes, sir. Then why are you back today? Well, sir, I didn't know whether or not someone got sick or someone died, sir. No one got sick or died. No one was laid off or fired. Now, don't you come back here again. I came back the next day, talking loud, looking happy, like I was singing for the first time. I said, hello, Mr. Butterball. How are you? He looked at me with rage. He says, go get me some coffee. I said, yes, sir. My favorite book says the greatest among you will be your servant. How many of you are serious about reaching your goals? Raise your hands, please. Here's something I encourage you to write this down. Provide more service than you get paid for. As small business operators, and you're going to do market takeaways, you've got to provide more service than you get paid for. You've got to build relationships with people. You got to be able to tell your story because people do business with people they know, like, and trust. You've got to look for ways, as a lady who became the dominant force in her industry, and they said, how did you get here? In an industry that's dominated by men, and she said, it's not our intention to please our customers or to satisfy our customers. Our intention is to amaze them with the quality of the service that we provide for them. And so you have to literally amaze your customers. Go above and beyond as you begin to anticipate what their needs are and look for ways in which you can begin to impact them. And so as you look at your goals and dreams, the people that are willing to do that are hungry. He said, Mr. Brown, go face the music. I went to apply for this job 3 different times. They said no. Finally, they asked me to become the errand boy for the disc jockeys. I'd go get their lunch and their dinner, and I'd stand in the control room knowing my time would come. Let us say together, my time will come. And on the weekends, they would come out to the parking lot, and their cars would be waxed and cleaned inside out. They said, hey, who did this? Write this down. Give before you ask. Give before you ask. I was just trying to get my foot in the door. I wanted to establish a reputation of being a go-to person, a person of resourcefulness, a person that's relentless and unstoppable, a person that can get things done. I said, I did, sir. How much you charge? Nothing, sir. I just wanted to help out. I was building relationships. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. Look here, Donna Ross and the Supremes are coming to town, the Four Tops and the Temptations. Here are my car keys. Pick them up and take them to the Fontainebleau Hotel on Miami Beach. It'll be my pleasure to serve you, sir. I was driving these entertainers in the disc jockey's big long Cadillacs. I didn't have any driver's license, but I was driving like I had some. Then one day, it was a Saturday afternoon, a disc jockey by the name of Rockin' Roger was drinking while he was on the air. Rockin' Roger got so drunk, he could not complete the show. He began to stutter his words. He was about to fall off the chair. It was a Saturday afternoon, and I was the only one there, looking at him through the control room window, walking back and forth, young, ready, and hungry. I was saying, drink, rock, drink. Drink, rock. I'd have gone get him some more if he'd asked me to. Then pretty soon the phone rang. It was the general manager and answered the phone. I said, hello? He said, young boy, this is Mr. Klein. I said, I know. He said, Rock can't finish his program. I said, I know. He said, would you call one of the other DJs in? I said, yes, sir. I hung the phone up. I said, now he must think I'm crazy. I called my mama and my girlfriend, Cassandra. I said, y'all come out on the front porch and turn on the radio. I'm about to come on the air. I waited for about 20 minutes, and then I called him back. I said, Mr. Klein, I can't find nobody. He said, young boy, you know how to work the controls? I said, yes, sir. He said, go in there and segue the records, but don't you say nothing here. I said, yes, sir. I couldn't wait to get old Rock out of the way. I put on a fast record. I said, look out, this is me, LB Triple P, Les Bown, your platter-playing papa. There were none before me, and there will be none after me. Therefore, that makes me the one and only. Young and single and love to mingle, certified, bona fide, indubitably qualified to bring you satisfaction and a whole lot of action. Look out, baby, I'm your love man. I was hungry. Get the old man a round of applause. I was hungry. I was hungry. Shake someone's hand on your right and left, look them in the eyes and say, you got to be hungry. Do that right now. Shake someone's hand and say, you got to be hungry. People that are hungry are willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. People that are hungry believe, always strive to get on top in life because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. People that are hungry know if you want to be successful, you must be willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. I didn't do what I'm doing right now because it was hard. How many of you decided not to do something because it was hard? Raise your hands, please. I want you to write this down. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. Complain, point at your circumstances, give up your power, blame the government, blame the economy. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. It's hard to make a radical change in your behavior. It's hard to take ownership. It's hard to swallow the bitter pill that wherever you find yourself, at some point in time, you made an appointment to be there. That's hard. That's hard. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. If you do what is hard, your life will be easy. I don't know what your goals are. I don't know what you want to do with your life. Here's what I know about your being here. That there's something in you that waits and listens to the voice of the genuine in yourself. It will be perhaps the only guide you will ever have. And if you cannot hear it, all of your life, your days will be spent on the ends of strays that somebody else pulls. And I submit to you, the reason that you're here is that in your heart of hearts, you've said, I'm going to pull my own strings. I say to you, the reason that you're here is something about you that says, I'm going to control my own destiny. There's something about you that when you pointed your fingers at your circumstances, you realized you had three pointing at yourself. So I want to dedicate something to you that my mother loved to hear me say. Mama was a 22-year breast cancer conqueror. I want to dedicate this to you, to the achiever in you, to the greatness in you, to the unexpressed gifts, talents, and abilities that you have in you that's hungry to get out. And it says simply this. Leslie, yes ma'am, mama. Say that thing for me, boy, that makes me feel good. It says simply this. If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep for it, of all that your dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, and if you gladly sweat for it and fret for it and plan for it, and lose all your terror of the opposition for it, and if you simply go after that thing that you want with all of your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity, if neither cold poverty, famish, or gulf, sickness or pain of body and brain can keep you away from the thing that you want, dogged and grim, you besiege and beset it with the help of